the Astro Weekly Forecast. My name is Sheetal Story, and I'm your astrologer, bringing you what is the energy presenting each week for you so that you can use it for your highest and best. So this week's forecast is for June 14th to the 20th, and we are fresh off that new moon eclipse in Gemini. And Mercury is still retrograde, and that Mercury retrograde in Gemini has been a thing, right? I was in a workout on Zoom and it cut out for the entire class. The poor instructor was gone. So she had to come back in. Their internet went out. I just upgraded my internet. I've been having internet problems all week. It's just been insane. And the reason for this is that Mercury is square to Neptune. Now, Neptune is about the fog. It's in a square. It's deception. It's you can't figure things out, confusion, and Mercury is our mind, it's our thinking. So even if you're having a hard time with like brain fog or finding the words, there's going to be ebbs and flows of that because Mercury is retrograde. So it's within 3 degrees of the Neptune where it's at in Pisces. So it's literally retrograding and then it's going to go direct next week and it's going to come back over that point. So we're just going to have this mental fog for a little bit, just until July. So really checking to make sure what you heard is what you heard. Internet snafus, gonna happen. So just be calm and be patient. Know that the other person is probably not like, what the hell is wrong with this person? It's the internet. it's electronics. Things happen, glitches happen. People are very kind about that generally. And if they're not, then that is actually something in them being triggered. And we call that trauma. So that trauma is coming up. And trauma doesn't have to be something super big, by the way. It's just something that maybe in your childhood you felt ignored. And so when someone glitches out and is gone on the internet, now you feel ignored, or now you feel that you're not being acknowledged. And then that's bringing something up in the person. So it's always this like, there's a root of this somewhere else. If it's like getting angry about something that's nothing, right? So coming into Monday, this is a very big day. This is one of the days that make 2021 what it is. So we have these 2 planets, and if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know I keep saying Saturn, which is the planet of structure, order, duty, responsibility, the patriarchy, government, things that like to be organized, power, authority figures, that it actually sits normally at the top of our chart in the normal wheel or in the natural wheel of astrology. And so that is the career, taking power, reputation house. And that is Saturn's ruling house. So Saturn rules Capricorn. And so with Saturn, that is the patriarchy, all these old structures that are crumbling now. And then Uranus, which rules Aquarius. Aquarius is about elevation of humanity, doing things differently, not making your own rules, not following the rules, breaking the rules apart. They literally are the opposite planets. And so they are in a square all year. So we had an exact in January, I believe it was around January 14th or around that. And then now June 14th, which is today, exact, meaning they are exactly square, the exact degree to be squaring each other. So this is intense energy. And because Saturn is retrograde, this is going to happen again when it goes back. Now, Saturn's retrograde for some time. So when it goes back over and is exact, it's going to be, you ready for this? Christmas Eve, I think it is actually December 24th. So that is going to be when now whatever is happening now that's clearing out, that's breaking apart, we're going to see the new structures starting to emerge in December. So this is a turbulent time. And you might be feeling stirred up, or you might be feeling fired up, or you might be enlightened. Something is coming to mind now that you're like, oh my God, this is what life is about, or this is what I need to fight for. Or there are so many things going on around the world. Indigenous, Black Lives Matter, what's happening for the Palestinians in Gaza. There is the Me Too movement still going strong, still going out there. There's so many things and I think there's going to be more things emerging. And if you think about it, what are all of these things? The old patriarchy, the old way of doing things, right? Men trying to stay in power. And how are we going to, the old white man, I guess you could say, if you're an old white man watching this, You're probably an involved old white man if you're watching an astrology forecast. So thank you for being part of the movement. And it's breaking that up, right? So today, Monday, June 14th, if you're watching in, is the old versus the new. And this is an exact, but because Saturn is retrograde, this is now where did we contribute responsibility, Saturn, retrograde, us, of to this bigger problem that's going on in the world. How do we have a responsibility to now break apart our old thinking, the old paradigms, the old structures, to now create way for humanity to rise together, community? That's Uranus, that's Aquarian, but Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus is about the earth. Taurus is about value systems, structures that are going to last, value, money, relationships. Now, this is interesting because there's a few things here that rules the currency. Taurus is currency. And so there was a prediction that around this time, there will be a stock market crash or a writing of these inflated prices for things. Like even the housing market is just insane right now. Here in Alberta, wherever you live, it's probably insane as well. During the pandemic, it's just gone sky high. So it's been a little bit nuts. So I think there's also, and the stock market, Susie Orman, who is an amazing women's financial empowerment. She's the OG of women empowerment in finance. And she was saying that there is a predicted writing of this stock market that's become really inflated and stocks have been overvalued. Interesting. That's Saturn square to Uranus. And in Taurus, right? So Taurus is about the value structures, the value systems. So what I'd say is, I mean, if your stocks are in long-term stocks, you're good, right? RSPs, GICs, you're probably risk averse in that. But if you're in something that you're playing the stock market, I would say watch your stocks very closely this week. And an interesting thing to note, Jupiter is now retrograde in Pisces. It's going to move into Aquarius. It's not yet. Sorry, it's going retrograde in September. And that is, it's going retrograde on Sunday. See this Mercury? It's like, if you're a Virgo or a Gemini, this is like intense when Mercury goes retrograde. So I'm a Virgo. So on Sunday is Jupiter is going to go retrograde in Pisces. This has merit for what we're talking about here because Jupiter in Pisces rules oil and gas. So what we're going to see, the oil and gas stocks are going to plummet. I think this is a prediction. Do not quote me. I do not have, don't come at me. This is just my prediction, and do what you will. You have free will and you have choice to be responsible in your own life. Okay, that's my little disclaimer. So, but this is my prediction, is that the oil and gas stocks are going to tank because really what we're going to is clean energy now, right? And I think there's going to be more environmental oversight, Uranus and Taurus, that is going to really be righting those old wrongs of the oil companies policing themselves. Like, who does that? I don't understand. That is, again, government protecting itself and its revenue sources and not our earth, right? We are our earth. And I think that is going to become out more and more and more with this Uranus and Taurus, that we are the earth. And the more that we destroy the earth, we destroy ourselves. And so this is going to be the elevation of humanity, elevation of the earth. So oil and gas tax going to tank, I think, and I think environmental sciences and oversight and things like that are going to go up. Here in Alberta, there's a lot of abandoned oil wells and no one takes responsibility for it. So literally oil companies can drill for oil, leave the derrick, leave everything there and walk away and go, oh, well, I guess I don't want to do this. And there is no recourse. I think they lose like a $10,000 deposit or something like that. It is ridiculous. There is no recourse for the government. There's no recourse for the people, and there is no penalty. So I don't know who created that. I know who created that. Oil companies lobbying their rich friends in the government. So that is going to be Uranus coming in here, bulldozing that crap. So I get very heated about some of these things. So I'm a Sagittarius heart, right? I'm just like, yes, let's do this. The other thing that's happening on Monday is Mars. This is a little bit of an, it's not considered a major aspect, but it is a sticky aspect, and that's why I'm going to mention it, is Mars in Leo now. So Mars in Leo is passionate. It is driven. It loves to create. It is It is wanting to do things, be noticed, look at my achievement. Because of my creativity, I want to be acknowledged. It's a very Leo thing, because their plight in life normally for Leos is that they have a hard time using their voice to be seen and be noticed, because they're not really sure if it's okay, right? And that's just part of the life cycle. And every Leo's plight is to be seen and to know that they are worthy of being in the spotlight for their gifts and talents. And then the opposite of Leo is Aquarius, and Aquarius is about our gifts and talents, now using those talents to now elevate the world. So that is kind of the evolution of Leo. Now, Leo is going to be inconjunct. That's a 150-degree angle, which means it's like a need for adjustment. It's a kink in the energy is the way that sort of I was taught it, but I like to say a need for adjustment, a paradox or riddle, to Pluto. Now, Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion, right? It's about elevating, being kind of going bigger with things. Now, whenever Mars is in conjunct to Jupiter, it's like we do too much and we're not getting what we want, or especially with Mars. So this can be, I wrote down a few thoughts here. Your expansion makes other people uncomfortable. So you could be bumping up against other people. And I've been noticing that myself, because I've kind of changed my messaging a bit about, yes, we're wanting to heal and step into your passion and purpose. But if you're not healing the trauma, then you can do all the modalities and it's going to always be, but I keep getting stuck here. I keep getting stuck here. And I'm going to say that was my experience. I did all the things. I did all the Reiki, astrology, looking in the chart, tarot, why do I keep doing this to myself? And the answer is, it was a trauma. And it's not a big tree trauma. It was just that I was totally ostracized by people in grade 6. I was coming back to this was, grade 6 me holding me back. And so it's interesting. So I've now stepped into such a bigger light with this message. I think everybody needs to know that you can't, if you can do all the clearings, you can do all the activations, you can try the ascend. And I'm all about the spirituality. Hey, I talk to dead people. But if you're not doing that trauma-informed piece that with your nervous system and using that as your basis, then everything else isn't going to work. It will work. Now you can use all the modalities. And I love all the clinicians and all the practitioners and everyone that is in this wonderful healing world that I am in. And I just think we can make it better and then elevate everyone together. Together, we rise together, right? I'm so about community. So this is that message, is that my message of like, let's be trauma informed, look at the trauma, look at that, integrate that trauma back, not shame with limiting belief and self-sabotage and all that. That stuff doesn't exist. We actually have self-protective mechanisms that are holding us here because it's safe. We want to be safe. And even though our mind is going, no, we want to go there. I want to be bigger. And we're like, no, your nervous system's like, that's not safe. I'm going to keep you here. And so we can't transcend that with activations. And, you can't without doing the work about it. So, and it doesn't have to be hard. It really doesn't. You don't have to go back and relive the thing. You just have to integrate that part of you that's holding that very consciously and processing it. So that expansion for me has bumped up against a few other people that are like, are you calling out my modality? And I'm like, no, what you do is important, but we have to hit that bottom piece. Yes, you are helping people, but it's temporary. And how you know it's temporary is because then they keep coming back and going, I need another activation. I need another activation. I keep hitting the same thing. They're like, oh, well, it's layers of an onion. It is layers of an onion. When you hit the trauma and you integrate it, you get the tears, you get the knowing, you get the, oh my God, and then you get this ascension, and then you hit another plateau, and then you do it again, and then you ascend. And so healing can be like that for sure, but it's definitely understanding if you're just hitting the same plateau again and again and again, you're not healing the trauma. So that has kind of been an example for me. So another one is elevating your projects before, evaluate projects before you get involved. So don't take on too much. Your drive for significance can leave you drained and unappreciated. You idolize somebody who let you down. That's another example of that. Really, this is about that, you want to expand, or you see someone who's expansive and then you find out, and I'll say this, no one's your guru. Everyone is going through life. We are all humans. I have trauma. I have things that I'm integrating. I'm not perfect. I'm doing this work along with you. And so, really being aware of if you hold someone on a pedestal, why? And what about that do you covet or want or idolize or appreciate? Or maybe are grateful for, but they're also doing their thing. So just be aware of that. On Thursday, so this is kind of a light week. Okay. So we got Monday, we got Thursday. Now the sun is going to be in conjunct to Pluto. So the sun is our vitality, the way we feel about ourselves, and Pluto is about death, rebirth, transformation. So this is about how are we going through, so need for adjustment. So how is our individuality, the way we feel about ourselves, having to adjust to the things that are dying away in us, or the structures that we were holding on to that now we realize we don't need that anymore. And this is, a perfect example of this is the world opening up, right? And I've been thinking about this, is like it's a mini crisis or threat is what this is. And so when you think about the world opening up again, I got a little bit of like panic. And I think the panic was, and I feel it here. So this is really important for you. Again, this is a trauma piece. Feel where you feel it in your body and then ask it, how old is it? Right. And so then you're coming to the base of what this is. So I'm like, oh, I felt it in my stomach. And as I felt that, I was like, wait a second. I launched my business full time when I was on a pandemic, when we were in a pandemic. So everything I've been doing is online. Now, before that, I was doing everything in person, nothing, like maybe odd client online, but only if they were, lived in a different country or province or far away. But really everything was in person. And now for me to think about doing things in person again, I don't want to have people in my house. I realize that now. I don't want to have readings in my house anymore. I think it's so much more effective and easier for me to reach a larger audience. And I just turn on the camera. So 5 minutes before, I can be going to the bathroom. I can be making myself something to eat. I can run up here. I can woosah and get into this. But when there was people come to my house, 15 minutes, people come. One time I had someone half an hour come in. I'm like, this is a home-based business. Can you sit in your car? I got kids downstairs playing. I promised them they could play for another 10 minutes. So yeah. So even just having that, right? And then I don't think I want to go back. I know for a fact I don't want to go back. Oh, what I love is group. I love co-regulation in groups. I love community. I love bringing people together for connection, for helping, for healing each other, and for participating with each other. Nothing better than communicating in a community and know that you are held, seen, and safe amongst people who are doing the same work as you, right? Hello. So I will definitely be doing more group work when the community stuff open up. But I was like, even how I'm showing up, I haven't had a haircut in over a year and a half, and I am actually going after this video. So this is the last time you'll see this hair. But even then, just thinking that for yourself, what are you going to be now when everything opens up? Have you put on the weight? I'll put on the weight. I was like, everyone's going to see me and go, oh, she doesn't look like that from the waist down. And it's like, wow, I want to be authentic. So actually that spurred me into being more healthy, starting a really healthy lifestyle, really working out. And I'm seeing the results from that. So this is what this Thursday is going to remind you of. How are you thinking about that? Who do you want to be when the world opens up again? So in a negative form, everything has its positive and negative, and everything has the micro and the macro. So just like I was talking about the stock market, in our own lives, we also have those patriarchal, things breaking up in our own lives. So on Thursday, the sun in conjunct Pluto, this is about a negative. It can be obsessive behavior, taking away your personal power or voice by authority, or someone making you feel guilty about it, because Gemini is voice. The sun is in Gemini still. And authority being Pluto in Capricorn. And then the positive, this is evolutionary. And I think you should think of everything that's happening as evolutionary in your life. Look at that. So there is evolutionary, community, restructuring, compromise, trusting a higher power, self-improvement. And I think that's the key for me that I'm taking away, that I'm choosing to do instead on Thursday. But sometimes the universe has some other plans for you. And so as you're navigating this day and you're like, this is so hard, you're like, wait a second, what is this meant to teach me? Or do I have a trauma underneath this that's making this hard? Learning so much. All right, Sunday, June 20th. Okay, there's these two big things happening on this day. Super big day. Okay, June 20th. Jupiter is going retrograde, and it's going to go retrograde into Pisces. So it's starting off at the 2-degree mark of Pisces. And again, Jupiter in Pisces is gas. What it represents is gas and oil as one of the manifestations, but it's also spiritual healing, devotion. So when it's introverted or introspective, Jupiter on the outgoing forward motion is expansion, being big, being seen, doing the thing, good luck, optimism, winning the lottery. That's an example of it. And then in retrograde, it's like, how can we be big within ourselves? How can we put in Pisces, self-love, right? Loving ourselves and all the pieces of ourselves. And as Jupiter is traversing these 2 degrees of Pisces back into Aquarius, that is going to happen July 28th. That's going to move back into Aquarius. And then now it's going to be about how as a community can we expand to support the structures that we're trying to build long term. How can we expand as a community? How is my part in this? Now, what can I do? Interesting, right? And so this is going to happen. Jupiter's going to be retrograde until October. I think I put 17th, 18th around 11:30. It's 11:30 p.m. So depending on what time zone you are, that's Mountain Standard Time. And it'll come back to this spot. So really take note of what is going on in your life on this day. Okay. And what is happening expansion wise? Where are you expanding? Where do you want to expand? And maybe you feel constricted. And then looking to October, that is when, it's going to come back again over these degrees, and it'll come back to this 2-degree mark of Pisces on January 8th, 9th, 2022. So put on your calendar on 2022. What are you expanding now? What do you want to expand now? Where are you feeling it now in your life? And then putting it there and then seeing how far you've come in January. This is going to be a cool little, I love the cycles of astrology because it gives us that introspective time to see how far we've grown or what is happening or the seeds that we're planting or what are we working on and how has it come to fruition. So I love that as a Virgo. And then the other big thing on this day, Sun is moving into Cancer. It is Cancer season. I have 2 planets in Cancer. I love my Cancerian friends. Actually, my best friend is Cancerian. And someone who's very close to me is Cancerian as well. So I just love Cancers. And Cancers are intuitive, sensitive, kind, nurturing, loving. And I always think of them as the crab, right? So the crab walks sideways. They don't like confrontations, right? They feel awkward in confrontation, so they'll move out of the way. They have that soft underbelly. They just are so sensitive and sweet and intuitive and empathic. And then they've got the shell on the outside that's like, no, bitch, don't you deal with me. But then underneath, they're like, just kidding. So this Cancerian season is going to bring up themes of home, themes of personal power, themes of intuition, themes of your boundaries with your energy. Boundaries, big one. Cancerians plight in this lifetime. Every sign has a plight in this lifetime, what they are meant to ascend into. And Cancer's plight in this lifetime is to appreciate their divine feminine intuition, to own their emotions, and to put up boundaries that make them feel good and empowered and not people pleasing. That's where. If you're a Cancerian and I described you, please put in the comments, oh my God, how did you know? And because that is what it is. So feel it to heal it is the theme of Cancer season. And the Sun will be in this for another 4 weeks until mid-July, which then it will move into Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Leo's birthday, of course. Oh my God. To all the Leos, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize the Cancer, Leo. Of course, Leo season comes after Cancer. Don't at me. So have a wonderful week. Enjoy this time of expansion, introspection, really feeling it. And, if you're interested and you want more support, please do message me. I love to support people coming through their expansion, really understanding what is holding them back at the root and how can they elevate their lives, not holding you back. And I think I want to rebrand that to the safety mechanisms that were keeping us safe, that at one time were wonderful, that we are now outgrowing and we need to dismantle and put those energies into something else. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please message me. I'd love to help you. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Thanks for being here. And please do comment below what you really enjoyed about this video so I can do more of it. Yes, I can. Have a great week. Thanks for being here.